This tent actually comes in 3 sizes, and there's one for a single person, and it only has 1 vestibule. On the other side goes straight down, or almost straight. And then you have this one for the 2-person version, and it has the 2 vestibules. And then there's a 3-person version, it's Triarch 3, which doesn't have a single pole going across, but it has 2. This one, as you see it here, doesn't exist anymore on the North Face store. They replaced the model with a different color. Actually, it's the yellow too, but I think it's kind of split, white and yellow. Oh, you see the Guylines here, they're still assembled originally. I've never used them before. I had this tent in many storms and it never blinked, so I never needed to actually attach those. So that's a good sign that the tent is very strong, even though it's very lightweight. Over here you have ventilation. It has a little wire in here, so it stays very nice and tight. It actually stays very ventilated. It hardly ever has condensation inside. I really don't have much of a problem unless it's very foggy or I'm drying wet gear inside the tent. So I really love the ventilation. But one thing to keep in mind is if it's very windy and rainy, mist will come right through there and will get the inside of your tent wet. I've had this happen a couple of times now on my trip in Maine. Actually, I'm going to link that video down below in the description. You can see the tent endure many fogs and winds and rainstorms. It was a very cool trip. Also, the other trip on the Ridge Trail, when I camped in a thunderstorm, and when I used the tent without the rainfly. So I'm going to link both of those in the description below, so you can see it actually in use and not just here in this description. So here you see both doors closed all the way, but it can be assembled in a couple of different ways actually. The one I use the most is just to open up one side on each of the 2 doors. And to just roll this up here. Maybe tighten this down a bit. And that's the most common and easy way, and this way if it starts raining you can easily undo this and close it back up. Also, if it rains you can actually keep it partially open. So maybe like this, if it's just rain coming down straight and there's no wind, you can easily leave it open for a little bit and enjoy the breeze. But let's do this. Put this back again. And you can also undo this here. Just leave the stake in, unhook the string, and roll this side up too. It's got those little toggles to fasten it. Yeah, so you can do that on both sides, and it's a very cool way to have ventilation, to look outside your tent, but still have a quick way to close it up again if it rains. If you need to close it, you just undo this, hook this back into your stake, and then tighten it again. Check out how much space 2 mattresses take. The gray one is bigger. It's a Thermarest Neo Air, and it's got the corners. And the orange one is also a Thermarest. I don't remember the name of it now, but it's got the mummy shape, and so it has a little bit of space down near the head, but not that much. But the gray one here really takes up all the space. So if I had 2 of those, really there's 0 space for gear on the floor. But most of the time I'm by myself, and so I use all the space where the orange mattress is now for my gear and for the backpack and everything. And I stash all my bags and extra clothes in the little pockets on each side, and also in the gear loft right there. So there I have some gear, my sleeping bag. I keep one of those pillows in here to sit on, to change clothes, or kneel on it if I get air into the mattress. And I got my backpack and all the bags stashed away in one of those pockets. There. So now that we set it up together, let's reverse all the steps and take it down again. So the first thing I usually do is closing all the zippers, because that prevents the tent from getting damaged. The zippers can get tangled, dirt could get in them, mosquitoes could get into the tent while you set it up if the zippers are still open. And now I just take out all the stakes. And that's very easy to do with the loops that I showed you. I also reset all the straps as I'm taking out the stakes, so it's ready to go next time I pitch it. I do this on all of them. Now that we have all the stakes out, we can detach the rainfly from the tent and start rolling it up again. I usually take the whole thing off and then roll it back up, instead of trying to roll it while I'm taking it off. Remember these little clips here? You just undo them again on both sides. And we had the Velcro here, so we'll just undo that. So now you can fold it just any which way you want, but me, I usually roll it back up the way I put it back on next time I go, because that just makes it easier. So the red tag is going to be the end. So I need the other side. So now just roll it up like this. I take a little bit more time, but this way I always know how to set it up again quickly. Here's my tag. That's where I stop. So now we just go in reverse order again. We take this pole out first, then all the clips, and then it's going to collapse. One thing that is actually not as good on this tent than on my older tents that had more poles, stronger poles. This one I can't open the door and shake out all the dirt that I might have in it. All the other tents were super sturdy and they were I was able to do it with them. But with this one, you see, it feels flimsy. Even without the footprint, it still feels like I could break something, so I don't do this. Let's get everything detached here. Now all the clips. I see a spider friend inside the tent. He's gonna have to come out. Yeah, I'll show you real quick. So this little guy snuck in somehow when I was getting my gear out earlier. No matter how fast I am with my stuff, getting things out and in of the tent, someone always sneaks in. So keep that in mind, my friends. Close the doors as fast as you can. Keep them closed always. Otherwise you will have little critters in your tent. And before you go to sleep, always check for mosquitoes, for biting flies, for spiders. So you have a peace of mind when you go to sleep and you know nothing will crawl on you. So now that I transported our little friend out of the tent there, we can continue with the clips. You just work around to all of them. It's not really a good order when I take it down. Just remember to take all of them off the poles. And now we have to get the ends out again. Just carefully pull that out. Now you see my problem with the bungee cord again. I really need to get that fixed. It's a problem when you set it up and when you take it down. But the next thing is to undo the corners here with the poles. And I do this very gently so they don't snap straight and might break. So I just grab the corner here and very gently let it go like this. Take the other corner out. And the same here. Just hold the corners of your tent and of the footprint. And take it out. And gently let it go. To minimize the risk that something breaks. So now we're ready to fold these back up. I usually start with these guys here. And I used to actually bother to take rubber bands and separate them all. This one, the long one, and the other one with 3 rubber bands. But I haven't done this in a while. When you're out camping, you don't really have the time for that stuff. It doesn't save that much time with the setup either. So just gently pull them apart. This one, of course, is already loose. And there you have it. That's definitely a downside of this tent. Everything is just one big pole and you have to put it all together as one instead of having 3 separate ones. I think that's part of the reason why the bungees got so bad, because everything just kind of hangs together on such a large scale compared to compact, smaller poles. If your tent is not very dirty, that's a good place to just fold it up now. But I actually have a lot of sand in it, so I'm gonna show you how I clean that out first, and then I'll fold it up. So I usually just open one door. And then I turn it inside out. And shake it out. So now you can just reverse. Make sure to close the zipper again to avoid damage and mosquitoes. Push the ends in, those little triangles here, and then I just fold it in thirds. Try to get no dirt in it. So now you can just roll it up. If you keep your poles with the tent itself, you can take the poles and just put them across here and roll it up. But I always have them separate in my backpack on the outside pocket. So now, pretty tightly, I just roll it up. And the rainfly is a little bit trickier because of the way we rolled it up. But it's no big deal. And now the footprint. This is really dry and very clean today. But sometimes you may want to clean it up a little bit or dry it off in the sun if you can. Because it does collect a lot of moisture under there. So I just fold the dirty side in. Put it in the same bag. And we had our poles here earlier. They go in. And the stakes go in here too. And that's it. That's the disassembly of the tent. As you see, it's pretty fast. And you just have to be a little bit careful with the poles because of the way the bungees are and the way they fold. But other than that, it's very easy, I think.